A couple of years ago, my band played this show. Okay, we're good? And this show was significant for me because it was the first time I ever got to use a wireless guitar system. I don't know if you guys know what a wireless guitar system is, but when you have a guitar, you have a cable that goes from the guitar to your pedal board to your amplifier. And a wireless makes that wireless. You don't have to have a cable. And as a result, you can run around and goof off a little bit more. You're not tied down. And I was pretty excited to have this wireless unit because, I get to run around. I get to do whatever I want. I don't have to stand right here and go mess with people. So in the middle of the second song, I decided to do just that. And around backstage, ran out the back of the building, still playing along with the band, run all the way around the building, and come in the front door, but I'm like crouched down so nobody can see that it's me because when you're 6'7", you stand out. But I'm still playing around, and I'm like this crouched down, hold my guitar like this, and I make my way to the middle of the crowd, and nobody really realizes it's me yet. And then I stand up, and everybody's just kind of like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm still playing along with the song, and everybody starts jumping, and I'm like, yeah, let's jump. And I start jumping, and when I jump up, when you jump up, you come down, right? The girl next to me starts to jump up. And when I come down, she comes up, and the top of my guitar hits her on the head. And it's the hardest I've ever hit anybody. I mean, she did one of those kind of things, and I was like, oh, are you okay? I just, stopped playing. I was like, please don't be dead. And she assured me she was good. She had no idea where she was at anymore. But she said she was good, and I kind of made my way back to the front of the stage. And I played the rest of the show, but ever since, and I've had kind of this weird phobia. That story automatically brings up feelings of embarrassment. My heart's kind of beating a little fast right now because, I hit this poor girl on the head hard. And, ever since I've kind of had this phobia of standing close to people. I tell people I'm afraid of standing close to people, but really I'm just afraid of hitting people. Because, I've got a big wingspan, and when we're worshiping and stuff, and I get into it, I don't want to, oh, sorry. It doesn't work out for them, it work out for me. So, that's kind of a phobia. And it's hard to get over that. I mean, every time I think about that, I get that sense of just kind of uneasiness, and this is weird feeling in my gut, and I still kind of don't like standing next to people because I don't want to hit them. But, I'm pretty sure we all have kind of stories like that, right? We've all got stories that if we were to talk about, we would kind of get embarrassed of. Or, maybe some of us have stories that are a little bit worse than embarrassment. There's stories that really stick with us that really are kind of painful to think about. Stories or something that happened to us that really they shape who we are, They make us less than what we think we are. Every decision we have since that kind of is undergirded by that story, by that event, I'm pretty sure all of us have something like that. See, there's a story of this boy in England, and the boy's parents were affluent professionals, and they loved to live a wild life, I guess, and they ended up having this child, but they didn't mean to. It was completely by accident, and from the time that child was born, they let him know he wasn't wanted. I mean, over and over, they sent a clear signal, you're just in the way for us. You get in the way of our lifestyle. And, they were very wealthy people, but they sent the kid off to a middle-class boarding school. And for Christmas break, all the boys went home to their parents. And this boy went home to his, except when he got back, he found a note and his nanny. And it said, we went to the continent for Christmas. There's plenty of money, do whatever you want. Sending a crystal clear message that he's not wanted even at Christmas. And this boy spent the rest of his life trying to prove that he was good enough, trying to accomplish enough, trying to overcome that story, trying to overcome that feeling that he's not good enough. So he spent the rest of his life accomplishing great things. And this boy turned out to be one of the greatest leaders in history. I mean, it was Winston Churchill. And you guys know who that is? He led Great Britain through World War II. I mean, he faced down Nazi Germany. He overcame one of the greatest things. But he was also known to drink a fifth of liquor a day. His story shaped who he was. But the fact is, that as he spent his life trying to get over it, trying to forget it, trying to forgive his parents, trying to let it go, and he couldn't. Over and over and over again, he tried and he tried. Same as us. We try and we try to get over these things and we can't. And we wonder why. Why? We scream to God. We scream to whoever will listen. Okay. We can't get over this. And the answer is, summed up, we don't know how to fight like a baby. Now, the beginning slide showed that. But, you guys know how a baby fights? I mean, parents, yes. Like a baby really, they don't really fight. They have like two moves. They have the face ranger, parents, that thing. And they have the hair pull. They're not really much of a fighter. There's no such thing as baby ninjas. There's no such thing as school shootings at a nursery. Babies can't do that. Babies don't fight really, right? But they get to a point where they do start to fight. And you know what? As I thought about that, it's kind of refreshing when children fight. I know a lot of you parents of multiple children are like, no, it's not. But when you think about how kids and babies, like when I say babies, I'm including kids, how they fight compared to how grown-ups fight, it is kind of refreshing because, when kids fight, they're brutally honest, right? And they know exactly what the other person did, and they let them know, and everybody else know, and they're full on throwing down. You took my crackers, it's time to pay. That kind of thing. Kids are brutally honest about it, and there's no question why are they fighting. They're fully passionate and they fully blame each other. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. Okay, let's fight. And then afterwards, it's over, right? Grown-ups, when they fight, they may never actually come out and blame somebody. When grown-ups fight, they're secretive about it. They're underhanded. They may never actually let the other person know that they offended them. You have people spend their entire grown-up lives feuding with somebody, and the other person don't even know about it. When adults fight, it may never come to blows. It may come to a court decision. It may come to months of litigation. It may cost tons of money. When you compare that to kids who, in 10 minutes, lay it all out on the table, throw punches or whatever, and then to get it over with, it's kind of refreshing. Now, obviously, we can't do that as grown-ups. But, when I was a kid, I fought like that. I have 3 brothers, and 1 older sister. Hard to keep track. So obviously we fought, right? Well, when I was about 5 years old, and my sister was a few years older than me, I had no idea what she did to me. But I remember in the middle of the night yelling at her, and she yelling back. So I got out of my bed, ran to her bed, and bit her on the shoulder. And I left a mark. She didn't like that, so she hit me over the head with a hairbrush. Mom and Dad came upstairs and was like, what's going on? And we're both, at each other. And Mom sits us both down, and in 5 minutes, what happened, knows the entire story, right? And then Mom fixed it, right? All right, we've all been through this kind of, where Mom says, okay, now you apologize for what you did. And like you mean it, right? And then the other one, you like you mean it, right? And you both apologize, and then we both had to accept our apology. Yes, I accept it, I forgive you, that kind of thing, right? Mom makes us do that, and then she does the worst thing. Oh, man. She made us sit there and hug each other. It's the enemy. But in the end, it worked out though. I mean, the problem was over. Like, I have no idea what that fight was about. The only reason I remember it because it was the only time I've ever bit anybody. But she made us sit there and hug each other. And in essence, that's how you fight like a baby. That's how you fight like a baby. It's got 5 steps to it. And the first step is blame the guilty. Right? When kids fight, they immediately say, it's your fault. Scripture over and over says that God holds people accountable. It's okay to blame somebody. In our day and age, we tend to think that blame is a bad thing. But if somebody murders somebody, you kind of got to blame them, right? If somebody's guilty, it's okay for them to be guilty. Because if they just go around not sure if they're guilty or not sure if anybody knows, you don't blame somebody in an honest, truthful way, in a God-like manner, you can't move on. All right, the next step to fighting like a baby is you got to give up revenge. You know, back we had eye for an eye originally in the Old Testament. You know, if somebody steals your eye, I guess you steal theirs. Eye for an eye, get revenge. You know, like the Old Testament, the way the system was set up was if you accidentally killed somebody's family member, you know, that family had the right to assign somebody to go kill you, even if it was an accident. And so God set up cities of refuge where people were in high so that they could get a fair trial before they're killed, even if it was an accident. By nature, we are instinctively eye for an eye. If somebody wrongs us, we want to wrong them back. But that doesn't really apply anymore because as we found out, revenge doesn't work. You know, we're in, what is that? I'm sorry, Hatfields and McCoys. We're pretty close to them. Are there any Hatfields and McCoys in here? I know we've had some around. Are you blood related to them? Yes. Okay. Be careful what I say. I'm on your side, by the way. But, you know, years and years and years of feuding because revenge is just getting even. And then it doesn't work. God gave up the right for revenge against us. You know, as Christians, we were all guilty, right? But God gave that up for Jesus Christ. He no longer seeks revenge or punishment for us. We don't. There's three different types of punishment out there. I don't know if you guys know the criminal punishment, which is punishment getting even, and then there's restorative punishment, restorative justice, which is let's fix the harm that was done. That's how God operates, and that's how He calls us to operate. Not to get even, but to restore the harm, to heal. So we're supposed to give up our right for revenge. The next step is to change the monster into a man. And I remember when I said, let's hug the enemy. The reason that just disgusted me was because in my head, she's a monster now, right? If you're really mad at somebody, think about what they look like in your head. They're the scum of the earth. They're the evil person. They're less than human, right? We change some person or the thing that we're mad at into like this monster. But in reality, they're only human, just like the rest of us, right? We're all only human. We all make mistakes. And if you stop and realize that they're not really that monster, but instead they're only human, you begin to see the common traits you have with them. Because you mess up too, right? Chances are you made somebody mad along your life. I don't think anybody's gotten through life and not made somebody mad. You know, Jesus Christ, you know, the person we're supposed to imitate, made people so mad they killed Him. It's impossible to get through life and not make somebody mad. You have to recognize people's humanity, that they do err. The next step is to change your feelings. You know, feelings are a result of how you react to something. If you think of somebody as a monster, no matter what they do, you're going to react negatively to them, right? Well, if you constantly, or think about it in the sense of taxes. Any of us have a positive association with taxes? All right? So when tax time comes, you're automatically going to be, right? You have to give up money. With taxes or anything like that, if you react to things negatively, you're going to have negative feelings. You have to change this person you're trying to forgive into a human so that your feelings can change about them.